We're going to jump in with some competitive Wargaming doubles tournament Tactica. I've had a recent request regarding tournament play, and we've been exploring that competitive play, but also from the perspective of a team play or multiple play. Now, I love doubles tournaments. These are where you and a fellow teammate will play on the same side against two other opponents. And the idea is essentially you bring two different armies, armadas, battalions, lances, whatever the tournament's going to be, and you go against two opposing armies playing a same mission. Now, from a competitive standpoint, this makes things very, very interesting because essentially bringing two different armies, there is the possibility for some interesting synergies, some things that you might not normally see in a regular game of your wargaming system. But at the same time, there's the chance for fragmentation in that I bring an army that works one way, you bring an army that works another way. It really doesn't have very good synergy, or it's not taking advantage of certain strengths and weaknesses based on the rule set. And your opponent takes the lazy way out, although this isn't always allowed for this very reason, where essentially they bring one hyper-focused army from one faction or one side of the wargaming system and just kind of cut it in half. And they take one side and their partner takes the other side. And essentially you're playing the side with two disjoined armies versus one hyper-competitive army. You can see that. Now, many doubles tournaments will not allow that. They'll have in the rules packet, you have to bring two completely separate armies, and you look for synergy. So how do we leverage this? This is a strategy that I've used over the years to great success because there are knowns and unknowns and things that adapt for different doubles tournaments. What I mean by that is you can't always bring armies that work together with good synergy or depending on the wargaming system. If I'm playing Warhammer 40K and I have one primary army, I need something that can work with multiple other armies. A lot of times I do have the same friends and we play on the same side, but if I'm playing a doubles tournament with someone new, I don't want to rely on synergies or rely on both of our armies working, because what if they're opposite? What if I'm playing Grey Knights and my opponent brings Tyranids? My wargaming partner brings Tyranids. How is the synergy going to work from that perspective? Where if I'm playing Imperial Guard and they're playing Space Marines, it would have synergy. So I'm not saying don't look for synergy in your wargaming system, but this Tactica, this strategy goes beyond that. If I can get synergy, if I can get armies that complement, fantastic. If I can't for whatever reason, I can still dominate. So this is essentially how this formula, and I also wanted a formula that could work playing various doubles tournaments. When we were playing X-Wing miniatures, being able to bring any factions, any ships, and just dominate doubles from that perspective. Okay, so here is the formula. Now, the biggest challenge with this formula is, can you stick to the plan? Can you stick to the plan? We're looking at overall total victory. It will be worth it when you are up there in the winner's circle, taking first, second, or third place, and hearing the cheers of the crowd as you collect your store credit or your models, right? Whatever that prize is going to be. Can you stick to the plan? I say that because different gaming personalities and different partner personalities might not be able to stick to the plan. And if you can't stick to the plan, this falls apart really, really fast. Okay, ahead of time, one person is going to, based on the miniatures, based on the models that they have available, they're going to construct an army that has one purpose and only one purpose: to go out and cause as much damage as it can to the opposing side and last as long as it possibly can. So taking powerful units that are also very, very resilient, taking units that are fast and extremely resilient. They're going to focus on building an army that is just going to engage the opponents, engage the other side, and keep them busy. If this plays well, then by end of game, They're going to be completely wiped off the table. They're there to completely sacrifice their army. If you are playing this half of the team, can you stick to the plan? I mean, you're going to be getting pounded on by two other opponents. You're going to have to try and make things as hard as possible, last as long as you can, deal a lot of damage. It's intense. It's intense. But that is your job. Your partner is going to build an army that is resilient. It has some attack power, obviously, but it is going to focus purely 100%. Can they stick to the plan of capturing mission objectives? Whatever those mission objectives are going to be. Objective points, table quarters, certain points on the table, whatever. That is their job, just to win the mission. They're going to hyper-focus their army just to win the mission. Now, once the game starts, the person, the teammate who is there, who's going to be the primary attacker, they're going to go out, they're going to engage. Essentially, they're going to look to cause as many problems as they can, last as long as they can, and keep both opposing sides busy. Lock them down. A good side note on how to do this, independent of system, we explored a couple of different list builds. I've pushed those up to the archive here on the playlist. Check out my Wargaming Tactics playlist and look for list building. Look for deployment lockdown. This works extremely well in a doubles tournament. Build a deployment lockdown list, blast that into there, and keep both your opponents busy where they can't go effectively pursue mission objectives. Now, the other player, the other team member, they're going to go out and grab those mission objectives. If there is any resistance, it'll be disorganized and they'll attack and they'll kind of sweep it aside. That is the formula. That is the formula. And that's not to say, as the person going after the mission objectives, you can shoot at the opponent. Absolutely. I mean, you do. You add a little bit of firepower. You engage. If it's some long-range shots, some artillery. But that's not your focus to engage. Your focus is mission objectives. One player goes out and is the wrecking crew. Can you do it? Can you stick to it as you start taking losses? Easier said than done, right? And the second player, can they stick to mission objectives? The second team member, as your buddy is just getting destroyed on the table, can you stick to the mission objectives? I find this Tactica template for a doubles tournament works fantastic. Works absolutely fantastic. Independent of system, independent of synergy, independent of armies. Now, if you can lace in synergy over that, if your armies can complement each other, if you can take advantage of those aspects of the tournament, you get jacked up, ripped up even more. So think of that as an overlay.